one of the studies that I was interested in is why would a city rise and fall? And Ibn Khaldun said you could predict it. And he laid down the nature of a city, and it would rise and it would fall. The key was indulgence. The key factor is when the apex of indulgence occurred, then you could predict its downfall.
Yeah.
Now, Muslim cities, they had an antidote to indulgence. And this, if you had a kingdom, if you have a community, is a critical group of people who, if they're promoted and they're allowed to do their thing, they oftentimes decrease everyone else's desire to indulge. And that is the zuhad, the ascetics. And if people ever read Albert Hourani's book on the history of the Arab peoples, it covers a lot of different facets of the Muslim society. But one of the key facets of the Muslim society is the zuhad, the ascetics. In most societies, the ascetics are the forced ascetics, namely the poor. But in the Muslim societies, it was an intentional group of people who were patronized. They were given food and drink to worship Allah in these lodges, and then walk around the city, preach, remember Allah in different parts of the city publicly, and preach to the people about the afterlife and living the ascetic life. And even if people did this for a period of time, not their whole life. Some people did it as youth, then they moved on with life. Some people did it during crisis, in the middle of life, and found their therapy there. And other people took it as their retirement activity, to go down to the zawiyas and to do dhikr, prepare food for people, and spend all day in the remembrance of Allah and thinking about the afterlife and leave off this dunya. Like, well, how did they survive? Well, rich people, the king sometimes, would fund it. So in every good community, every good society, the zuhad have to intentionally, when I say zuhad, for those who don't know it, it's ascetics. The people say goodbye to this world and let's focus on Allah and afterlife. They have to intentionally be preferred, be elevated, a good dosage of that. If a businessman crosses paths with one of them every single day, his greed may go down. If a scholar crosses paths with him every day, it puts him in check from using his legal knowledge to benefit himself. And that's what the sophist, what you said, the intellect can go astray. The sophist, or today's like lawyer, today is a very morally tenuous job with the law. I saw a billboard online basically saying, I'll be your attorney. And he said something like, even if you did it, you don't have to be guilty. Right? So sophistry, use of knowledge of the law for misuse, for oppression, for injustice. So when they cross paths with the ascetics and the worshipers, they make from fear Allah a little bit.
Yeah.
And the zuhad, the way we, for example, and you and Maqasid promote this, is who mans the majalis of dhikr? Who recites the awrad aloud? Right? Who is there? Who's present? Who's established in these circles? That's to us the zuhad. The dhikr that is beyond the 5 daily prayers, beyond the sunan mu'akkada that everyone knows, the nafila now. Right? Who's encouraging the fasting, etc. Those are the circles where the true sincerity to Allah is elevated and nothing else matters. So talk to us now like about the nature of or the importance of that feature in both the worldly kingdom but also our personal kingdom.
MashaAllah, that's beautiful. Like even the way that you described it was, you shed a lot of light onto the topic already. I believe it was Imam al-Shafi'i rahimahullah who said that, أعقل الناس الزهاد, the most intelligent people
Subhanallah.
are the zuhad. Like if you wanted to define in the world, in society, and that's because, there was once a man who was a zahid, right? And as you said, the zahid is someone who's like, they have no attachment to the world. They recognize the world is limited. They recognize you have ups and downs. It's not لَيْسَ لِحَيٍّ وَطَنًا. Nobody ever lives here forever. It's very fleeting. It's very fickle. So they let go of it. It has no place in my heart. I'm going to invest in what's permanent. So a man, a worldly man came to a zahid. He said, MashaAllah, you're such a zahid. You've detached yourself in this huge way. And it was funny because the Zahid, this man who detached himself from the dunya, he said to the man who was worldly, he says, "You're a bigger Zahid than I am." And he said, "What do you mean?" He said, "I detached from something that's cheap, I mean, that's worthless. You detached yourself from paradise, which is
Subhanallah.
very
Yeah.
significant. So you're a
Subhanallah.
bigger Zahid than I am." But he said it in a way to, teach and remind the man. And so the Zuhad, as you said beautifully, I mean, they're the ones who really help us almost like understand the true nature of things. That helps us not become deluded. Maybe you could say that they help the intellect maintain that moral compass, right?
Yeah.
Or at every level, like what it's really about. Maybe that kingdom can become a kingdom where people become very self-centered and delude their own selves, whereas the Zuhad are able to keep them honest and keep them morally upright. And it's almost like this accountability, this mirror that's held up to people on what really matters. And that's, one of the most amazing things about Imam al-Ghazali was when he had that shift, right? You have all of this knowledge, and people at that time, because it was so highly respected, that scholarship and knowledge became a way that people acquired the world and acquired renown and so forth.
Subhanallah.
It's kind of happening, today as well, right? It starts to become this. But Imam al-Ghazali had the pinnacle of that, and then he just realized, like, what has my knowledge done for me?
Subhanallah.
So he left it all. That's when he had this, the greatest contributions of his knowledge really became filled with barakah, such as, his books Ihya Ulumuddin and Bidayatul Hidayah and Minhajul Abidin and Al-Arba'in fi Usul al-Din and Al-Mustasfa, and all of these amazing contributions, rahimahullah wa radiyallahu anhu.
The what the Zuhad bring is something a little bit different from most civilizations. Most civilizations, the pleasures of this life that are lead to destruction in their excess have to be curbed by a force, by a punishment, or by a strict teaching, or by a logic that it's destructive if it's excessive. But one thing that Islam brings is that it's a different persuasive method. It basically says we have something sweeter than actually your desires. And that's a whole nother way of looking at it. Like, we have something that will actually make you happier. That's actually, I think, the only real solution is if you tell someone not to do something nice, you just increased its value, right? You made it a forbidden pleasure. But if you say, I have something way nicer, you can have that. You can have as much as you want of that stuff, but I got something way nicer. And that's what, if you think about the whole goal of the tazkiyat in nafs and Islamic spirituality, is to get a person to recognize how much nicer of a life it is to live the godly life, how much sweeter in the heart it is to follow this path. And that's a far more convincing method, right, than the fire and brimstone method that just simply says this is bad and it's going to lead to destruction. Because human behavior, we see it. Every addict knows it can lead to destruction. He doesn't have anything else to fill his heart with and his void. So he continues to destroy himself. And society as a whole, that's what, in my thesis, the rise and fall of civilizations was slower in the Islamic civilization because of this factor. Right. Whereas they didn't have to indulge in the dunya. They always had this factor that made people decrease that rate of indulgence because of this unquantifiable sweetness that's found elsewhere in the Quran and found in with the Zuhad and that factor of things. And that's ultimately, isn't that our dawah? That's our call. Our call shouldn't be, hey, stop doing all this stuff yourself. You're destroying yourself. Americans, you are destroying yourself.
Yeah.
No, our call should be we have something
Better.
far greater,
Yeah.
right, that you don't want to miss out on.
Yeah.
And that's why it's important to say Islam is not at war with the flesh. It's not at
Yeah.
war with money. It's not at war with philosophical thinking,
Yeah.
meaning just inquiry. It's not at war with inquiry. It's not at war with tech and science and development. But we also just have something better that probably maybe is because we were in that maybe our tech and stuff, our rate was actually slower.
Yeah.
If you look at the rate of Muslim tech development in Muslim golden age, the rate was probably slower than it is now.
Yeah.
I think, and one Algerian scholar, he looked at the French bringing in the light bulb, and he said, yeah, because we have 5 prayers a day, we didn't get a chance to develop that yet, but we would have eventually. But we were going at a slower rate because we have some other things to do rather than just make money.
Yeah.
So it's such a critical part of our dawah.
Yeah. That's really important because, even for whether it's non-Muslims or for young people, and like you said, we're not at war with the flesh. Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us to have an inclination towards those things. So it's not like the elimination of what we enjoy, but it's the redirection to that which is permanent, right? And all of the desires that we like nice houses. Well, the palaces of paradise are far nicer, right? We like nice food. The food in paradise is infinitely greater, and so forth. So that's beautiful. I think that sometimes we lose sight of that. I remember someone telling me, if you think about how we're presenting Islam, like we need to kind of change our marketing strategy, so to speak, right? It's like, okay, if I want to become Muslim, you got to wake up before sunrise to pray. You got to fast an entire month. You can't do this. You can't do that. And it's just like, whoa, no, I can't do it. I can't do that. But if reframe it, it's like, man, you get like peace and fulfillment and meaning, and your soul is aligned with the divine, and you cut out all of this garbage from your life. Like someone was telling me, Ustad Ubaidullah Evans, he went to like his high school reunion, like 25 years later or something like that, or more. And he was like, man, in addition to Islam being the truth from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam being his messenger, it's like Islam is just a good, clean way to live. Like he looked younger than everybody else. He was
Subhanallah.
healthier than almost everyone else. Like people got all kinds of ailments because they've given into this, excessive way of living because they don't have anything else.
Yeah.
They don't know what else to hold back for.